Uh, Thanks, guys, for introducing yourself and choosing Sky Blues Technologies for Hadoop. Before delivering the session, let me introduce myself. My name is Raghu, and I have 9 years of experience. I worked in various MNC companies. I worked 5 years on Java and around 4 years on Hadoop. So, this is a proverb stated by Grace Hopper. In pioneer days, they used oxen for heavy pulling. And when one ox couldn't budge a log, they didn't try to grow a large ox. Uh, we should try for bigger computers, but for more systems of computers. So how this proverb is related to Hadoop? So earlier in olden days, before a machinery used for agriculture, they used ox for pulling the logs. As the size of the log grows, they not even grown the size of the ox. Instead, they used multiple oxes. If one ox can't pull the log, they use two oxes or three oxes like that. So this applies the same. This concept is applies to in IT industry also, where the size of the data is growing every day. So instead of using a single computer for processing, we need to use multiple computers, like two, three. As the data size of the data is increases, we need to grow the number of computers also in parallel. This is a demo session which covers only Hadoop overview and the different components present in the Hadoop stack, like HDFS, MapReduce, Pig, Hive, HBase, etc. So Hadoop is based on a single concept, like a single statement, that is nothing but moving computation is cheaper than moving data. So based upon this single statement, the entire Hadoop is based upon this. So people think that the big data is something very new or it's very complex, but it is very simple if you understand the basic architecture of Hadoop. Once you come to know the basic architecture how Hadoop works, then everything is very easy. Today the topics to be covered is like Hadoop basics, what is Hadoop and how the concept of Hadoop came into the picture, and why if you take the top 100 companies, 90% of the larger MNCs are going with Hadoop. So why, what is the challenges in Hadoop and why the companies are going with Hadoop, we will be covering in my Hadoop basics class. So Hadoop is built using the two core components, nothing but two Hadoop core. It's made up of HDFS and MapReduce. So HDFS is for storing, and the MapReduce is for processing. So in HDFS, I'll be covering the what are the goals, architecture, other functionalities present in the HDFS, and next the MapReduce, that is nothing but the processing layer of Hadoop, which covers some basics of MapReduce and an example on MapReduce, how to write MapReduce program in various programming languages like Java, Perl, Python, C++, etc. And what are the other tools like Eclipse plugin for MapReduce, etc. And later we'll be covering the Pig, HBase, and Hive. So this sits on top of MapReduce. So if you consider as a stack, HDFS in the bottommost, on top of that MapReduce, on top of that you'll have Pig, HBase, Hive, which sits on the same level basically. So this is overview of big data. So when you compare the amount of data generation, 90% of data is generated in last 2 years. So if you compare 2011 and 2013, the amount, whatever the amount of data is generated until 2011 is equivalent to the data generated within the 2 years, like 2012 and 2013. This is data explosion. Big data is nothing but the data which deals with a huge quantity like petabytes and zettabytes. Earlier we used to think about the data related to MBs and GBs. So let's take an example, like in olden days, nothing but in early 1990s, we used to have a floppy drive. The size of the floppy drives are MBs, like 100 MB or etc. So people who were happy with a floppy drive, they used to copy images or the files in MBs only. So later in early 2000s, the floppy drive is completely replaced with DVD drives or DVDs. The size of the DVDs are in GBs, like 4.4 GB. So people, the amount of usage also increased. The size, instead of the file sizes of MBs, the file sizes will be GBs. So if you take an example of any movie, earlier they used to store in like MKV format, which is of like MBs, like 100 MB or etc. Now the movie size of the movie is 700 MB. They can easily store DVDs and they can easily take it and play it. But when you in the late 2000s, the DVDs, like we got the hard disk. The size of the hard disk is of uh, terabytes or 500 GB. So if you see the analogy, the amount of data is increasing because the storage is cheaper. You're getting at cheaper prices. Earlier you used to pay the same amount, you're getting the more storage space, but the processing is at very difficulty. The size of the data is growing, like the size of the data is through various sources like internet, like networking, social networking sites like Facebook, Twitter, Google Plus, etc. These are one of the source. Social media is one of the source of data explosion, and another is nothing but all the whatever the banking application or bookings, everything is replaced by online, which is also a data. Whatever, when you book a ticket using your online ticket for train ticket or a bus ticket, everything made into online. So everything is became data. Earlier you used to go to bus station or railway station for booking the ticket, which is like hard copy. Now everything become soft copy, and you will get e-ticket. So everything became online, nothing but the data. So the size of the data is going on increasing, but there is no medium which can, no framework which can process this huge amounts of data. So from MBs we looked into GBs, then we moved into terabytes. Now we are going into petabytes. But there should be we are going on generating the data, but there is no framework which can process this data. So Hadoop is the framework which is going to process this huge amount of data, nothing but big data. So big data is nothing but the data which is of huge quantity, like which deals with petabytes. So if you look into statistics, 2.5 trillions of data is generated every day. 90% of data in last 2 years, and data can be different streams. It's not only text files, it can be audio files, video files, pictures, sensors data, and the GPS. So GPS is like whenever you go from one place to other place, or if you want to find out any direction like Google Maps, so like latitude, longitude, and altitude, everything will be taken care by GPS. This is also a data. So you are finding the CCTV cameras every place, like wherever you go. So this is also data. There should be, you keep on generating the data, but there should be a framework which has to deal this amount of data. So volume, velocity, veracity, and variety are the four different quantities. Like velocity is nothing but 5 million trade events. Like if you take an example of New York Stock Exchange or New York Stock Exchange, like 5 million trade events are generated every day. So that is equivalent to, and 1 TB of data, terabyte of data will be generated every day. So you keep on generating the data and storing in the storage like hard disk. But whenever you want to look out the statistics, or you want to know how many trade events are generated on that day, or what is the number of persons who brought the shares, etc., there should be a medium or the framework which can process this huge amount of data, like 1 terabyte of data. So whatever the existing technologies that currently exist are no longer going to sustain this amount of data, like database, etc., can't handle this huge amounts of data. veracity. You need to trust on the information which is present on the source of data that is generated. Let me look into that how Hadoop is generated, how Hadoop is evolved. So in early 2000s, Google was a search engine company. So they have a huge list of crawlers that are running on the web or the internet. It used to find out the URLs and the caching the different pages. Earlier they used MySQL Server for storing this cache data. But as the number of websites or web pages going on increasing, there were some restrictions, there was some complications in the MySQL servers which can't handle the huge amounts of data. Then Google tried to find out their own way of dealing with huge or the big data. They came up with two core components. One is Google File System and MapReduce. If you take any company or any project, whether it is IT project or manufacturing or biotechnology, it deals with, any project deals with only three layers. One is backend, one is middleware, one is front end. Backend is nothing but the way you are going to store, and the middleware is nothing but the way you are going to process, and the front end is nothing but to the display. It's just like JSP servlet or a framework like so the main core components is nothing but two layers, is nothing but backend and the middleware. Backend is nothing but the storage layer, the way you are going to store, the way you are going to store in the file system or etc. And the middleware is nothing but the way you are going to process, how efficiently you are going to process. So Google came up with two efficient algorithms, one efficient algorithm for storage, one efficient algorithm for processing. The efficient algorithm for storing is nothing but Google File System, the way you are going to store any data. It might be a audio file, video file, text file. The way you are going to process is nothing but MapReduce. So let's suppose if you take Google as an example, when you type any keyword or anything from the Google search which you want to search, the processing should be efficient. Like when you fire a query, you need to get the result within minutes of within a milliseconds. If you get the response after 5 minutes, there is no use. So that is nothing but the how efficiently you are going to write the algorithm for processing. So the MapReduce is that layer which has the efficient algorithm which already written by Google. In the same time, there was another open source project. It's called Notch. It's also a web crawler. It was developed by Doc Cutting. He was a professor at the time, so he was also implemented. He was also used the MySQL Server for storage, but he also faced the similar problems what Google was faced. In late 2004, Google has released their algorithm, efficient algorithm, that is nothing but GFS and MapReduce white papers. So white papers is an architecture papers that doesn't consist of source code. Google doesn't want to give the source code to the community, just they want to say how they implemented it. The Doc Cutting in late 2006, the mid of 2006, he implemented GFS, Google File System, in Java. There is nothing but Hadoop distributed file system, and MapReduce he named it the same as MapReduce for his Nudge project. Later he thought that not only use the efficient algorithm for search engine, it can be generalized. It can be used it can be used for in other projects also. In the starting of 2008, Yahoo was interested in this project because they are also a search engine. So they hired Doc Cutting and funded Doc Cutting to implement to make the extensions to his Nudge project, like to improve HDFS and MapReduce. So later they released Hadoop as a Apache open source GPL license project in in 2008, late 2008, Hadoop wins the terabyte sort benchmark, which was set by Google. Later, the Facebook, which is also a social networking site, they are also dealing huge amounts of data, like terabytes of data every day, because on Facebook you can upload images, videos, text files. So the data is huge. So terabytes of data every day. So they need a framework which can deal with the huge amounts of data. So they use Hadoop for dealing with such kinds of huge data. Later, Twitter, LinkedIn, etc., Tumblr, everyone, every social networking site pitched in and tried to write their own framework. For example, Facebook came up with Cassandra and HBase, etc. Like Yahoo has developed a Pig, which sits on top of MapReduce. So etc. Like each company, depending upon their requirement, they are coming up with their own architecture, and their in turn they are giving to the source community. Like Pig, HBase, Hive, everyone can download from the Apache and can use it without paying any royalty. That is one of the very advantage using the Hadoop. Instead of paying millions of dollars as a license fee to the companies, they can go with Hadoop. Hadoop is a free open source project and efficient algorithms for storage and processing. Why we are going with the Hadoop? Need to process huge data sets on large cluster of computers. Not a single computer. It's like thousands of computers. Very expensive to build reliability into each application. So if you take, for example, any data center like Google data center, etc., they have thousands of servers every day. So each and every server will be running. So they are commodity hardware. Those servers are called commodity hardware, or cheaper hardware compared to enterprise servers. So if one enterprise server like IBM or Oracle server, which costs you $1 million for one box, instead they can get 10 commodity servers in place of one enterprise server. The one enterprise server has a lifetime of, like, for example, 5 years. The commodity hardware will have the life of only 3 years, but you will get it for 10 servers, which is like huge amount, like very less amount. So that's why, like, all over social networking site, they'll go with commodity hardware, and they'll have their own software deployed on top of this commodity hardware. Like they're going with Hadoop, where in backend storage, backend layer, they're going with the HDFS, and the processing layer, they're going with MapReduce. This is also a free open source. So if you take the cost per application or the per data per TB or per GB, it is very less compared to using the enterprise servers. So these commodities servers will fail very often. Means like maybe 1 month, one failure. So for such failures, your application should be intelligent enough to distribute the work to other servers which are present in the data center. Node fails every day. Failure is expected rather than exceptional. The number of nodes in a cluster is not constant. So as the number of people, like for example Facebook, earlier it started with some 10 people, later it grew to 100 people, then 1,000, then like that, millions, then billion. So your application should scalability is one of the concerns. So using Hadoop, you get the scalability. So they need a common infrastructure which is efficient, reliable, easy to use, and moreover it's an open source project and with Apache license. Hadoop is a scalable, fault-tolerant distributed system for data storage and processing. Scalable data processing engine. It consists of, as I said earlier, it consists of two core components. One is HDFS, one is MapReduce. HDFS is self-healing high bandwidth cluster storage, whereas MapReduce is fault-tolerant distributed processing. So HDFS is for storage and MapReduce is for processing. The advantage of Hadoop is nothing but it is flexible, store data without a schema. When you compare this with your database, so if you want to store any data in database, first you need to come up with the schema. Like ID should be a number and the first name should be varchar, etc. Then it allows you to store. Whereas in Hadoop, first you store, then specify a schema. It's in reverse. So whatever the type of the data, whether text, audio, video, first dump it into your HDFS, later write the schema on top of it. It's affordable, cost per TB at a fraction of traditional option. It's broadly accepted because it's a open source community, and all the major social networking sites or major companies are pitching into the Hadoop, and they're helping out their own flavor, like they're coming up with their own products. Everybody wants to open standard, basically they're using open standards, so everybody wants to use Hadoop. Proven at scale, dozens of petabytes are processed every day. So how the name of Hadoop came? So Hadoop was the name of a founder, like Doc Pudding's son's toy elephant. One day, the Doc Pudding wants to name for his framework, the new framework which he built. He looked into, like when he was in home, he looked into that his son's toy. He used to call it as Hadoop. So he gave the same name Hadoop to his framework. That's how the name of Hadoop came into picture. Hadoop doesn't relate to any big data or something like that. It's not an expansion or nothing. It's just a toy name. So if you see Hadoop, it's just a toy, like elephant, yellowish color elephant toy. That's it. Hadoop consists of two core components, HDFS and MapReduce. HDFS is self-healing, high bandwidth cluster storage, and MapReduce is for fault-tolerant distributed computing. So some use cases of Hadoop. Hadoop is used in digital marketing automation. It is used in log analysis. Like whenever you fire any query in Google search, etc., event or the log will be written at the server end, stating that from which IP the query came, what is the query, and which time, etc. So all these things will be in that log. The size of the log will be like terabytes. To analyze such log, you need a framework. Hadoop is a framework which deals with terabytes of data, which processes basically. And also fraud detection and prevention, and predictive modeling for new drugs, social networking and relationship analysis, perform ETL operations. Mainly nowadays, the BI, business intelligence tools are replaced, like proprietary tools are replaced by Hadoop, and it has image correlation and analysis. So Hadoop not only used for text data, it is used for images, audios, video, as I discussed earlier. So for image also, Hadoop is used, and collaborative filtering. If we analyze the mentioned use cases, we realize that the data is coming on variety of formats like audio, video, need to handle incoming stream of data, need to connect to their existing databases, need for a distributed file system, etc. That need for a scalable database. Nowadays, if you look into any databases, so any products, like everybody is coming with the Hadoop connector to connect database with Hadoop. For example, Oracle is coming with the connectors like Hadoop connector to connect Hadoop with the Oracle database. Similarly, IBM, HP, etc. All major vendors are coming with the Hadoop connectors to connect their products with Hadoop. Let's look at the HDFS architecture, like Hadoop distributed file system. This is nothing but the efficient algorithm for storing your data. HDFS is very simple. If you have a file, let's suppose a movie file which is like 768 MB, the first part is nothing but you need to make the file into chunks or the blocks. Each block is of size, it can be 64 MB or 128 MB or 256 MB, which is configurable in the Hadoop site.xml, HDFS site.xml. You can vary or modify the block size. For example, in this case, you make the 256 MB as the block size, then it will be divided into three blocks: B1, B2, and B3. B1, B2, and B3. Okay. So what the algorithm is first make the blocks like B1, like blocks B1, B2, B3. Then take each block and copy the block onto the three different servers. So B1 will be in server 1, server 2, and maybe in server 3. Similarly, take B2 and distribute into three different servers. That might be on server 2, server 5, and server 8. Like if you have 10 servers, S1 to S10, it might go on 3 servers. Similarly, B3 can go into three different servers, maybe B3, S3, S5, and S10. So it is randomly into three servers. Why we are making each block into three replicas is nothing but when one of the server like S1 goes down, then there is no way to recover B1 from that, as they are using commodity hardware which is going to fail, like there are failures. So that time, if there is only one replica, we are losing the replica. B1 chunk of data will be lost. There is no way to recover. So if we have three replicas, if one of the server goes down, still we have two more servers from where you can get the B1 from there. So that's why it is replicated into three servers. Like even though the B1 goes to S1 goes down, you can get the B1 from S5 or S10. Similarly, B2 and B3. At the end, you need to recover whatever the files that you are, or whatever the blocks that you have created. So HDFS is a master-slave architecture. Master here is name node, and the slaves are nothing but data node. All the blocks or the chunks will be stored in data node, and master node. These are all data nodes. This is a name node. Name node is just a repository where it stores each block is present in which servers. Like B1 is present in S1, S5, S10. B2 is present in S2, S6, and S9, like that. So it's just like a hash map which stores where each block resides and what is the file name, etc. All those metadata information will be stored in the name node, and the actual data will be stored in your data nodes. The heartbeat is nothing but data node will send a signal to name node for every 3 seconds, stating that the data node is alive. If if the data node goes down, like if name node doesn't receive a signal from data node for 10 minutes, then name node thinks that the data node is dead, and whatever the blocks that are present in the data node will be replicated onto other server. Like whatever B1, B3, and B2 is present, so this is dead. So the same copy will be replicated into another server. That is nothing but at any instant of time, you need to have three replicas of B1, three replicas of B2, three replicas of B3. And this replication factor is configurable in HDFS site.xml, which is similar to your block size configuration. So this is name node. So name node is like a repository or the metadata information store where it stores like block 1 is present in data node 1, data node 2, data node 3, etc. Similarly, in vice versa, given a node, data node 1, what are the blocks it has? It has like block 1, block 2, like that. So all this information, metadata information, will be stored in a name node. Metadata in memory, the entire metadata is in main memory, that is primary name node. No demand paging of metadata because it's present in main memory instead of the hard disk secondary storage. So what is the type of metadata? It stores list of files, list of blocks, list of data node for each block, it consists of attribute time, like creation time of the block, replication factor, etc., and the transaction log. So HDFS has two versions, HDFS 1 and HDFS 2. HDFS 1 version 1, it consists of only single name node. If the name node fails, all the loss then the entire data center is down. So in the version 2 of name node, they have a concept like active and passive, active name node and the passive name node. Once the active name node goes down, then the passive name node becomes active and it will process the incoming request. So in HDFS, you have three daemons. Three daemon is nothing but background thread. One is data node, one is name node, another is secondary name node. Secondary name node acts as a backup to the primary name node. So this is a failure, like where the lost, like you are going to lose the B3, and once you lost the B3 replica, so you can get the B3 as there are two more instance of B3. You can get B3 from this server or this server. So at any instant of time, there is no loss of data because there are three replicas. You can, even though one machine goes down or two machine goes down, still you can construct the data from it. So whereas in earlier versions, if you lose one, if one of the server goes down, then all the data which is present in that server will also goes. You can't reconstruct a image or audio or video or a text file because you lost the block. But whereas in HDFS, as there is a replication factor, you can reconstruct it. So data node is the place where actual data resides. It's like blocks. So periodically sends a report for all existing blocks to the name node, stating that this server consists, this data node consists of B1, B3, B5, etc. to the name node, and the name node will update its repository, saying that that particular data node consists of all the blocks. Forwards data to other specified data nodes, all those things. So HDFS is for efficient storage algorithm, where you have three daemons like data node, name node, and secondary name node. And the data node is the place where actual data resides, and the name node where your it's a repository where it stores the metadata information, and the secondary name node is the backup to the primary name node. So this covers the HDFS overview of HDFS. HDFS. Next, we move to the processing logic. Now we look into the MapReduce, the processing logic or efficient processing algorithm present in Hadoop. MapReduce is a programming model for efficient distributed computing. It's just a programming model. It works like a Unix pipeline. So we'll come to this. Like MapReduce, you can write it's a programming. You can write it in either Java, C++, Python, Perl, Ruby, etc. But as Hadoop is developed using Java, it is efficient. Like it will be easy if you implement map and reduce program using in Java. MapReduce is not a single term, it is two terms. One is mapper, one is a reducer. In mapper phase, in mapper phase and reducer phase. So MapReduce is efficient for streaming through data and reducing SWIGs, pipelining, and it is for log processing, Webinix building, etc. We'll look into the word count example, then we come back and know more about MapReduce. So input. For example, let's take a input file. This is the input text file. We want to find number of times each word is appearing in the text file. For example, deer is appearing in this text 2 times, and beer is appearing 2 times, like that. And car is appearing 3 times, and beer is appearing 2 times, etc. So if you are writing any Java program or C program, how you are going to deal this? So they were going to each and every line and make a counter, and for each counter, as soon as you look into the string or the word, you will be incrementing. So similarly, if you implement the same program in MapReduce or in Hadoop, what you are going to do first and foremost is HDFS, where you are going to split the input file into blocks. So here also you are splitting the input file into 3 blocks, like B1, B2 and B3. Then B1 is fed into a mapper. So mapper reads the input block, the B1, line by line, and it comes with it states that deer is appeared 1 time, beer is appeared 1 time, and the river is appeared 1 time, and the B2, this is the output, and the B3, this is the output. Later you get the shuffling, then the output will be sent to your reducer, like all the bears into one place, all the cars into one place, and the deers into one place, and the river into one place. Then reducer is very simple, it just a summation. So it just summates the output of mapper, like beer is appearing 1 plus 1 2 times, car is appearing 1 plus 1 plus 1 3 times, and similar to that. And the output of reducer is the final result. MapReduce is very simple, like take a block of text or audio file or video file, split it like into blocks. On each block run a mapper, and the output of each mapper is fed into a reducer, where the reducer will reduce it, that is nothing but summate it, and the output of reducer forms as a final result. So if you look this word count example, this might look very simple, but the same concept is applied to log processing, etc., weather forecast, etc. N number of examples, the same concept, like split the data, process individually, and the output of each mapper or the will be reduce it, and you get the final result. So instead of processing everything in a single machine, you split into multiple machines, split the input, whatever the task, into multiple tasks. Each person will be doing the multiple tasks, then the output of each user or each person will be integrated, and the final result will be delivered. So do you have any questions? Okay, then let me continue with MapReduce if we don't have any questions. So MapReduce is a fine-grained and reduced tasks, fine-grained map and reduced tasks, and it is improved load balancing and faster recovery from failed tasks. So this is also MapReduce is also runs on in the commodity hardware. So you will be facing frequent failures in the data center. So your MapReduce algorithm should be efficient to take care of all those failures. Automatic re-execution on failures. In a large cluster, some nodes are always slow or flaky. So your algorithm should take care of all these failures. Locality optimization, etc. There is nothing but where your data resides. You need to start a mapper on that server. With large data, bandwidth to data is a problem. MapReduce plus HDFS is a very effective solution. MapReduce queries HDFS for locations of input data. Map tasks are scheduled close to the inputs when possible. Some handy tools are to the MapReduce are partitioners, combiners, compressions, counters, speculation, zero reduces, distributed file cache, and tool. So these tools will improve the efficiency. As I discussed earlier, if you fire any query, your processing logic should be efficient, should return the accurate result within milliseconds. So if you use these tools along with mapper and reducer, this returns the output within milliseconds or seconds. Why MapReduce became complex, or why people are not that much interested to write the programs in MapReduce. The disadvantages with MapReduce or complexity with MapReduce is, first of all, you have to write in Java or C++, everything works fine, but if you want to start the project, it takes minimum 1 month to 2 months to implement a small project, because you need to come up with mapper, you need to come up with reducer and the other combiner partitioner. So then you need to integrate all those things. Instead, if you develop a scripting language like Perl, Python, then it will be very easy. You can develop the same project instead of writing the thousands lines of code. You can write in 10 lines of code. Let's look at the example once. The scripting language which Yahoo is developed is nothing but a pig. It started at Yahoo Research. In Yahoo, 30% of Yahoo jobs like Yahoo Mail, Yahoo Search, Yahoo Advertisement, everything runs on pig script. Why? What are the features of advantages of pig? Let's go through it. Let's take an example. Suppose you have a user data in a file, website data in another. If you have two files, one is user data, one is website data, and you need to find the top 5 most visited pages by a user between the age group of 18 to 25. So within these are like young people, you want to target those guys, and you want to give some coupons or send some coupons or advertisement only to that specific youth. For that, what you need to do in a regular data chart or workflow. First, you load the users. So users of different ages, like one is like 60 years of age, one person might be like 30 years of age. First foremost step is you need to filter by age. You need to only the age group of people 18 to 25. Then you have load pages, where you are going to load what are the websites or the pages those 18 to 25 group of people, age group people accessed. Then you need to join these two files. This is one file, this is another file. You are going to join these two files. Then you are grouping on URLs. All the URLs will be grouped under one block or one chunk. Then you need to count the number of clicks, each page or each URL by how many visited by how many people. Then order by clicks in descending order, top visitors of that page, then the next like that. Then you need to pick top 5, because we need to return only 5 most visited pages. So we are returning all the web pages where the age group of 18 to 25 visited most frequently. So if you want to implement this simple project in MapReduce, you need to write this much lengthy of code. Instead, if you develop this project in pig, this will be implemented in only close to 10 lines of code. Just using 10 lines of code, like within 1 hour, you can deliver the project to the customer. So this is a pig Latin is a script like Python Perl. Here in pig you have pig Latin. The first step in pig is nothing but load users. Load users as name comma age. You are loading the users. Then you are filtering the age, filtering the users by age greater than equal to 18 and age less than equal to 25. So only the age group of 18 to 25 as the will be taken. Then you are loading the pages using the user name the name is same and the URL. Then you need to join these two, like users and the pages. Join filtered by name, pages by user. Once you join it, then you need to group all the pages which the users are accessed will be grouped into one set. Then you need to, for each group, generate group clips, you need to count the number of clicks for those pages. Then once you know the number of people visited the page, then you need to sort it out like a descending order. Then limit sorted of 5, nothing but you are taking top 5 sites and storing into top 5. So all the red colored words are nothing but the keywords which are implemented by Pig Latin. So no need to write any code for this. It's already implemented. So using with this 10 lines of code is equivalent to 100 lines of code that is written in MapReduce. That's why most of the people are going with Pig, which is developed by Yahoo, to implement to deliver the project within less span of time. Let's look at another project which is developed by Facebook. Hive is developed at Facebook, used for majority of Facebook jobs. Like Hive is used for instant messaging on the storage and to know some statistics about messaging, etc. is used in Facebook. Pig is suitable for the developers who are good at programming. But what about the developers, SQL kind of developers, where traditional RDBMS, relational databases, where they deal with ETL operations? For those developers, Hive is a tool. It's a relational database built on Hadoop, maintains a list of table schemas. Hive consists of, similar to SQL, structured query language. Hive consists of its own language that is nothing but HiveQL or HQL for writing the queries. Can call Hadoop streaming script from HiveQL. Streaming is nothing but if you write a program in C++ or Ruby or Python, etc. This is streaming. It supports the table partitioning, clustering, etc. So you write Hive, which is similar to your SQL kind. Like to create a table, you just say create table name, and the fields like view time, user ID, page URLs, which is similar to how you create a table in SQL. Like create table and table name with all the fields or column names with the followed by the data types. And comment, you can give some comments to the Hive table, and you can partition the table and store as a sequence file, a type of file which you are going to store. You can use all the SQL queries here also, like select, page views, from, where, conditions, like that. So this is equivalent to your SQL. HiveQL query is similar to your SQL query. I only reads partition because as already we have implemented the partition while creating the table, all the country and strings will be partitioned automatically instead of scanning the entire table. So if you have some requirement, like you want to find out the number of male people visited the site, like home.php, I want to find number of people that visited, like male people, this my home, and the female people. Similarly, photo.php is one more web page where you want to find the number of male people and female people. So if you want to implement this scenario in Hive, just you need to write a simple SQL query, like select page, like pv.page URL view.gender, like simple SQL query. This is a simple SQL query to return the number of male people and the female people visited the following particular URL. Why this is developed? Like the same program can be written in either Java like MapReduce, or using the scripting like Pig, or using Hive. MapReduce might take 100 lines of code, whereas Pig will take 10 lines of code, whereas Hive will take just 3 to 4 lines of code. It depends upon the project requirement to find, like, to choose which one, like to go with the Hive or to go with Pig or to go with MapReduce. It depends upon the project requirements. But at the end of the day, you can do the same program or implement the same program in MapReduce or Pig or Hive. It's 90%. It's not 100%. You are not going to replace, but 90% of the jobs can be done with any of the one. Conclusion, like, computing with big datasets is fundamentally different challenge than doing big compute over small datasets. So instead of processing terabytes of data using a single machine like Exadata or Exalytics, we distribute the work to multiple computers. Each server will be doing a particular task, then later output of each task will be assigned or integrated and given to the output, send as output. This is similar to like a project. So in company, if you get a project, the project manager will divide the work to different people. So let's suppose a company in the project consists of a four person. One person is good at front end, designing the front end UI. One person might be good at developing or implementing the processing logic, and the other guy is good at database, like the back end. The project manager will divide the work to three people. The first person will be working on front end design, then the second person working on business logic in maybe application servers or ERs building, and the third person might be back end. So these three guys will be working parallelly. Later, the output of these three guys will be clubbed or integrated. There might be the fourth person known as integrator, or that guy will take the outputs from three and integrate it and deliver the project to the customer. In the same manner, we are whatever the text file that you get, you split into blocks. Later, work on each block separately and parallelly. The output of each mapper will be integrated in the reducer and given as the final output. So new ways of thinking about problem is needed. New tools, we're getting the new tools provided means to capture this. So there are n number of tools are coming. All the major companies or the major MNCs are looking for Hadoop because as it is cheaper and the free software, and which is highly efficient compared to the existing software, which can deal with terabytes of data. There is nothing but big data. It has MapReduce, HDFS, etc. It has etc. And Pig, Hive, HBase. HBase is a NoSQL database. There is a different vertical altogether, etc. are coming up in the industry. Any questions? So before concluding the session, like I want to take your time about advantages of Hadoop, like why all the major MNCs are looking for Hadoop. If you go through what is the advantage of learning Hadoop, like if you go to Indeed.com, it's a job portal, famous job portal. You can see that the among Hadoop is one among the top 5 technologies to learn. So all the major vendors are going with Hadoop, so they want it. So you need to learn the Hadoop technology or Hadoop framework or Hadoop architecture for better opportunities. Like it is a best time. I will say that it's a good time to learn it and to implement it. There are n number of projects are coming up, and let's say about the pay also is very good, and the opportunities, basically the opportunities are very good when compared to other frameworks. And within there is a number of resources that are who are working on Hadoop is very few. Like very few people know about Hadoop, but there are n number of projects. So the scope of getting the job or the pay, etc., is way more compared to other technologies present at this time, at the current time. And the future, by 2015, they are predicting that 50% of the data processing is done using Hadoop. So all the BA technologies which are currently existing will be completely replaced by Hadoop by 2015. This just so you can go through the net and learn about Hadoop, like the jobs or the scope or the projects and pay for a Hadoop developer, etc. You can do some research and know more about why and what are the advantage of Hadoop. Thanks for your time.